All right. Welcome to our main speaker and welcome, Aine. It's the first time I'm seeing you in our session. So, you're not, your audio is not on. So I will welcome you. There you go. Your audio is here. So welcome to our sessions. I hope you will find inspiration. And if you want to find out more about the workshop, because this is part of a workshop series that we're hosting, then I'm happy to share that with you as well. Just let me know in the chat here on Zoom. So we are talking about Melissa's journey and how she's engineering a better world for the next generation. It's leadership pathway that her and we both share. It is a scary one as an entrepreneur, right? But ultimately, this is the vision we have in the Pros and Babes and MoMBA community. We want to see more women like Melissa truly designing the future. I've been talking a lot this week about not leading to fit in, but leading from within. And what does that look like? You need clarity on what that looks like as a mother, as a professional, especially in a male-dominated field. Most people are not stopping to ask you, how are you doing? How are you feeling as a mom? How does your career integrate with your motherhood? How does your engineering integrate with your motherhood, right? It's not something that's discussed. So today we're talking about that with Melissa. Melissa, could you kindly introduce yourself? And for those of you who are new, of course, to the world, I haven't introduced myself in a couple of days, but my name is Kinia Romanovska. I'm a mom of three. I'm the CEO of Pros and Babes that have been operating since 2017. And here we help STEM corporate and management moms turn the motherhood penalty into their greatest advantage. Like all that weird stuff you feel when you become a mom and you have a career and it doesn't feel good, we leverage it into a superpower, essentially, in a nutshell. So Melissa, tell us about yourself and tell us about your amazing invention as much as you can tell us. And then we'll discuss more how the vision fits in, how you're navigating the complexity of this world with support of the MoMBA community. And then we're going to talk to people who are on the fence about joining and how you felt before you started making investments in yourself. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Kenya. So I'm Melissa Kobermeyer. I'm a professional engineer and founder at MoMBA Solutions. Recently, we submitted a patent for, I would say, a product that Kenya inspired because we are engineering the world around us. That is what we do at MoMBA Solutions. So I have a background in construction and geotechnical engineering. And that meant that I was in the field in places where there was nothing. We are the first people on site in most cases. And so through this experience and just being a woman in the engineering world and talking to my peers and the people that I was working with, I created a product that is a set of coveralls, the heavy fire retardant coveralls. You see everybody who's worn them knows they're blue, they've got the yellow stripes, but it's a pair of coveralls that you don't need to fully remove to use a washroom facility or to relieve yourself. And so we are in the process of bringing them to market this month, which is very exciting. It has been a long journey. Kenya has been here almost since the beginning of it. It has been almost 4 years from inception. So that is who I am. That is what I do. And we have the support at MoMBA Solutions from Pros and Babes and the MoMBA community. And it is just amazing. I cannot sing Kenya's praises enough. So Kenya, let me know where you want the conversation to go, but I will just keep singing your praises if you let me.
Thank you. I have tears and shivers in my eyes because I know what it's like firsthand to have a vision for the world and then go out to market and show the world what you're doing and find your first clients, right? It takes a lot of courage. In the beginning, there's fear, there's anxiety. It's like, is anybody going to buy from me, right? Am I going to be accepted? And it's a fair amount of work and it's new skills that were not necessarily taught in school. I was just talking with my husband about there's not enough entrepreneurial curriculum in our public system, right? Mm-hmm. And he's going to be teaching it too in junior high. I'm like, well, are you bringing business people to talk about it, right? We need to bring that to our kids from a young age because that's what truly builds the economy. It's entrepreneurs who provide value, who solve problems, and we shouldn't be terrified to do it and we shouldn't feel alone when we do it, right? So, but let's talk about the super important people in your life. You have 3 girls. So for you to engineer a product that allows people to relieve themselves with dignity. And we're talking not just about women, we're talking about men. What does that mean for you as a mother of 3 girls to shape the profession that you're in versus to have to force yourself to fit in? I want to cry when I say this, to force yourself, I am crying, to force yourself to fit in to a world that was not designed for the comfort of women.
I think with each daughter I had, because 3 little girls, it became more and more apparent that I didn't want to just live in this box or this cubicle that I was spending a significant amount of time in. I There were challenges I was facing in the workplace that I knew were related to motherhood and to me being a woman. I mean, STEM professionals will tell you there's a reason why there are so many scholarships and initiatives and everything to get women and minority groups included, because it is hard still. And I saw a barrier that I could take away for the future. And I said, you know what? The MoMBA community gave me the courage to say, I don't want that to be something my girls have to deal with. It seems so small on the grand scheme of things, but everybody goes to the bathroom every day. And to be able to do that without fear, because safety is a huge thing on a lot of these sites I was working on where there are no toilet facilities. So when you're leading a group of people, and in my case, it was almost always a group of men, having to go and hide yourself to go to the bathroom was very disconcerting. Um, and so we're looking at being safe, being inclusive. What can we do to bring down yet another barrier that we don't talk about and that's invisible until you come up against it?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of talk about bringing women into STEM professions, but then they're in there and then they become mothers. And then what? Then what
Then
happens?
yeah, it's not compatible. It's really hard to have professions that still value hero work. So you can be there for the entire project, but it's the ability to stay that last 16-hour day to get the document out the door. Well, when you're a parent, whether you're a mom or a dad, you can't do that on your own. You have kids, you have to go pick them up, you have to actually honor the commitments you've made outside of work. There are a lot of those when you are a parent. And it's just something that's not feasible. So there's still a huge attrition rate in engineering, even in Canada here, where in the 4 to 7 years experience range, we're losing women. And these are women who are smart and determined and who want to be there. But when you have to choose between your children and your career, it's a tough choice, but it's not a choice.
Yeah, it's not. And that's why I'm so thrilled to see women like you building companies, because I know that you're going to design operations as well that
Mhm.
aligns with who you are as a mom. We're talking about bathrooms. We are beings who menstruate, right? And
Mhm.
that means that also our hormones run differently. And so there's different ways to leverage our energy to be present in the workforce. That is not a conversation you're having in the corporate world. And yet, when
No.
we're able to align our workflows, our processes, our energies with that, we thrive in a different way. And for
Mhm.
most people, it feels impossible to bring it up in a corporate environment. And the conversation I want to be having more is more women need to create companies that also reflect their identity, right? It's not just going out there on the capitalist market and not knowing yourself. So this is where I can make the connection with the MoMBA program, because you're not just building another company, you are building
Mhm.
a mother-led company, and you've done a lot of the work to know what matters to you. You have your
Mhm.
25-year vision, you have your values, you've been doing a lot of that introspection. So by definition, you are the fertile soil from which this company is springing, but
Yeah.
is one that's been designed with intent. Why is that so important, Melissa? Okay, that's the part where you sing all my praises. All right, let's do it. Sorry,
So,
not sorry. Let's do it.
so without doing the values and mindset work, and even the 25-year plan, if you don't know where you're going, it is hard to get there. And I mean,
Right? Like,
it's,
hello. Yeah.
and I guess in an age where we are used to being able to just type something in Google Maps and have the answer, we don't do a lot of the same searching and getting lost that we used to, even physically. Um, so it's very easy to get distracted. There's so many different apps and social media and everything just screaming at you. And then when you're a mom, you're also tired. It's just a general state of being because it's so physically demanding for the first few years that if you don't have a path you're already treading, to it's hard to feel like you have a direction even too. Like emotionally, it you can feel very lost because you've gone through so many changes in that. And your life is completely different. It doesn't matter how much you have invested in your career when all of a sudden you're holding this little person that is yours and that you you get to train to be a decent human being. Like it's so I would say that the best part that I have got from the MoMBA program, there are so many, but without the push to work on mindset, I don't think no, I know I wouldn't be where I am today because we have delved year after year into, okay, first you look at your values, you make a 25-year plan, you revisit that every year. I've done something a little different in that I am doing a countdown every year. So instead of just calling it my 25-year plan now, I'm on my 23-year plan is the next one that's coming up in August. So I'm revisiting it and making my vision of the future sharper every year, like kind of like the focus on a camera or binoculars. Like I know what I want it to look like and I'm going to get there. So how do we every year course correct and make that happen? How do we in our major decisions make that happen so we're still continuing in that direction?
Yeah.
The MoMBA has so many different um I don't want to call them activities. I guess you say modules
So many
or
pillars.
resources or um, even the community is all doing the same kind of work. So people to talk to about how they're shaping their lives too. That it's really this kind of ball of energy that we all just bring up and give to each other and pass around, and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like having gravity. So the more people we add to the program and the more people who have these successes, it just brings gravity and brings even more people into that orbit. It's this beautiful, just positive influence in the world that we're putting in there. So
Yeah, I love that analogy. And I would like to continue painting a picture because there are people who are deciding whether they can afford the program, whether they can commit the time to it. Those are typically when people hang out with us, do a bunch of these workshops. Clearly, they would be a good fit for the community, but they're like, oh, can I invest the money and can I invest the time? So I would like to, we'll address that in a bit, but I would like to paint a picture. Okay. And what I do with women is often a visualization of if they went on the MoMBA path and if they stayed doing it alone. So let's paint the picture of a mom who travels through the container of the MoMBA. You have weekly live calls that you can join either at lunch or in the evening after the kids are in bed, right? You have that app to go to for daily inspiration. Instead of scrolling on the other feeds, you go in a structured way, even for 5 minutes in the app. You have podcasts, you have the group chat. We have these councils where we come together. If a mom has a problem, a challenge, something big she wants to tackle, we're going to come together, bring all the brains in the community and help you solve that, right? So what does that look like? A mom who decides to embark on this journey of structured curriculum, structured support, accountability, community versus somebody who waffles, right? And goes and tries to do one course here, one course there, alone, maybe a little bit of that, a little bit of that. Paint a picture for us. What's the difference?
So I feel like the if you're going alone and looking at different courses and trying out different things, that's completely fine, but you're going alone. That's the main difference. You are doing the research into what you're needing to do, or just hoping something will work. And at the end of the year or 5 years or whatever time frame you've given yourself, there's no accountability in the same way. With the MoMBA, we are filling out accountability worksheets every month. You're checking on us. Everybody is checking in on each other, and it really makes a big difference. I mean, psychology says that going and doing something alone versus having a partner there to check in with and to do a journey with, you're going to be a lot more successful with people than without. So I would say that the biggest difference between the two is the amount of mental load that you're putting into just making sure you're looking at the right things is so high when you're by yourself, whereas you have a community effort in the MoMBA.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean, you have just the resources we have are not just, well, Kenya read a book and she liked it, so everybody go read a book. No, there's been a lot of thought and preparation put into the materials, and gathering multiple resources from all sorts of different medium, and from experts, and we have guest speakers coming into. It's very much a full experience. It's not just a book club or a group chat. It's so much more than that.
Do we complain without solutions in this group?
No, you don't. Actually, I love the group chat because of that. There's a lot of encouragement. And we don't give negativity space, because when you give the negativity space, it's very easy to default into complaining about your circumstances rather than doing something about them. And that's not to say that we don't have empathy and that we don't support each other in grief and in hard situations, but we are not complaining around a water cooler. We're actively there as a community to support each other.
Yes, and find solutions, right? And map out the next steps, all of that. So awesome, Melissa. Now let's talk about the financial pieces, and let's talk about the time commitment. So
Mhm.
whoever is going to be investing in the program will be spending thousands of dollars. Right now, as we're recording this, there's a tuition bursary and there's bonus months in the program, but the tuition in the program is $8,750 at the regular price. You can be supported by a grant in your employer, right? Or some people will fund out of pocket, and that might feel like a lot. I remember my first investments that I did in myself. It was like, press the pay button, and yet I led myself through that, right? Because I wanted to grow, and I still continue doing that yearly. At least 3 times I will press that pay button, if not more, to grow faster, not to keep on looking by myself for the resources I need to solve problems in my business and in my personal life, right? So you've been successful in the past with a grant, but you've also made some investments by yourself and doing some of that more customized one-on work that I do, right? And in the pods, talk about what made you decide that you prefer to, because you can say you can choose your problem, you can keep your money or you can keep your problems. You decide, right? So how did you, and your husband has been extremely supportive of you too, right? So how did you decide it's time to invest in myself? And you've made other investments in your business in the beginning. It's like patents, right? All of that, all of that. So
Yep.
people who are wondering, geez, I've got childcare costs, I've got my mortgage. I mean, is this the right time to invest? I'm going to do it in a year when my finances are better. Do we talk about finances in the program? Do we help people on their wealth building journey?
Oh, finances are, there's a whole month, if not more. It hasn't been increased to 2 months. Everybody wants to talk about finances, because again, I feel it's like something that women don't talk about still, not in the same way. I mean, my husband grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, and there was always talk about money. And I came from a family where, no, don't worry about money. Everything's okay. You just focus on your studies. You just focus on your career. You just make sure everything is okay. We'll figure things out as they come. So money has been something that this year we're working on in my mindset work. But what I would say if someone's on the fence on considering this is look at it as an investment in yourself. Like the if you are a mom who is feeling alone, this is a community. And like I don't think you can even put a price on the community aspect of things. My first yeah, it wasn't with the MoMBA. We worked when we were doing still the mat leave cohorts, but the first time I worked with Kenya was in January of 2020, and it bled into or went all the way to I think April or May of 2020. And there was no dollar amount I could have put on the community when we were in COVID lockdown and still all having moms group online as the whole world. It was completely changing around us. So it's look at what you are, if things are tight and you have your budget figured out, look at where you're spending your money for activities for yourself, for self-care. This is a community where that mental health aspect of being together and being supported, that's your self-care too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not going to get into the details of your successes in your business yet. I think we've got some in the hopper, and we want to
Yeah.
spend some time before we really talk about things a little bit more openly.
Yeah.
But can you say that financially you feel like you're making progress in your business? We're on the cusp.
Oh, it's on the cusp. I feel like I've been on the cusp in so many things for so long, but it's like we are literally at the edge ready to step off, and I'm waiting for this cloud to just come and carry us away and we'll
Yes.
go flying. Like it's very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for our next call where we like talk details, right? I know the journey. It's gotta, but we talk about as if it was there too. It's so close. It's so close.
It's so
I can,
close.
like I can taste it.
Oh yeah, you'll see the social media pictures are getting updated in the next month. The website is tentatively up. We've got so many things. Uh we will be at the West Summit in
Yes,
June.
yes,
So the Women Engineering Summit. So you'll be able to see us there.
yes.
But until then, we're just on our hamster wheel of tasks, getting it all done and getting more tasks and getting it all done.
Yes, yes, it's always so that's what we're going to talk about next. Relationship with time, right? You and I did the calendar exercise that I did live
Yeah.
on Wednesday, and people are wondering, well, can I commit the time to it? Okay, what happens if you don't commit the time to actually doing the deeper time and energy management work? Where are people going to be if they don't take a step back and shift their mindset and reallocate their energy and get the right support? What happens?
You're anxious. The calendar used to make me so anxious looking and trying to figure out what was happening, getting that reminder from the dentist that we needed to book the appointment. I, again, engineer, so anything where there's a process, I am very much a fan, but the results I have had on just my mental load being decreased and things just being more peaceful, that is immense. I think we put in about 5 hours at the beginning, and I really worked this year to make sure that my husband and I had enough of our self-care in. So I looked at his benefits and I said, okay, we're going to use every single thing we can. And he is lucky enough to be one of those. He's also an engineer, so he has massage, acupuncture, physio. And I typed into Chat GPT, how many appointments with this amount of money can I have spaced over a year? And then we chose a day every month. And we now have a very set, this is the appointment day for myself, my husband, and the kids. It's different. We each have different days every month. And you just have to go to the calendar and look. And as unbelievable as it is, you can book all your appointments a year in advance. You have to phone in most of the time. The apps don't go that far in advance, but it's not uncommon. So I was shyly phoning in, being like, so can I book an appointment for December? And they're like, oh, no problem. What day do you want? So you also get the pick of how your calendar looks when you're booking things out that far.
Yeah.
So it's it's amazing. I still am getting a hang of it. I did miss a PD day, so that was a fun surprise. But one of the other moms in the MoMBA pointed out that you can actually sync a Google Calendar with Edmonton Public Schools. So that's my next to-do list item. Um, but yeah, I think the main thing is with the calendar work, the amount of underlying anxiety I had just making sure that everything was happening on the scheduling level was, I mean, 3 kids, it was getting to be a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So how is this calendar exercise different? It's not, people are like, well, I time my calendar, blah, blah, blah. But this one is particularly unique. So what is so unique about the approach I take to calendar planning versus any book that you might find out there?
You can correct me if I'm off the mark, but what I enjoyed about the process, which I believe is included, but again, this was back in January and a lot has happened since then. I really enjoyed how it was values based. So we are looking particularly at what you want your calendar to look like, in addition to what needs to go in there. And so that's where the self-care aspect came in for us, that we wanted to make sure we had that because it was going on the back burner. We also, one of the favorite things that I did with my calendar is the school that we go to has an odd day every Thursday. It has an early dismissal. So an hour and 10 minutes earlier, the kids are dismissed. And that used to just throw me for a loop because I do pick up every day. And it was always just something that I was dreading because I was having to compress my day. And then what I ended up doing is we made a schedule because we realized there was not enough one-on-one time happening with each of our girls. And we shuffled it around with our childcare. So now Thursday is appointment day for the kids. And then there's 3 more Thursdays usually left in a month. So each of the kids gets one-on-one time with mom and the others go to childcare. And they know it's when it's their day and they know what to plan. But the best part is there was one day where childcare didn't work out. And so that has become a dad date. So it's a lot less frequent, but dad comes and has a date with one of the girls um every third month. Then they rotate, so
Yes.
once a month.
Yeah. So
And it's
Melissa, how
amazing.
does it feel to have a calendar that reflects your deep desires that you first mapped out long term, right?
Mhm.
And that reflects your values and that what you want to achieve in your business. And I know we're early in the journey. It does take some
Mhm.
learning to put in together all the pieces of business. But how does it feel to have a calendar that reflects your desires and your values versus all the shouting voices out there
Yeah.
decide, well, this means to be a good mom. No, this means to be a good mom. No, you should be doing this. Oh, you should feel guilty if you don't do that. There's those
Mhm.
voices, and then there's your voice. And
Yeah,
your calendar gets to reflect your voice.
it's wonderful enough that my husband and I are discussing in the house we're building where we're going to put that screen that displays the calendar. We're not hiding it away, where it'll be on display for us to look at all the time when we need to. And it's it's deeply reassuring, I think, is how, like, it's not like I'm thinking about it all the time, but when I go to book things and when I look at the calendar, I know we have planned our lives around the way we want it to be, and we're
Mm.
getting there. So, for example, I also, through our values work, I decided I wanted, or I found that I wanted to be more present for my parents as they age and to assist the transition to their next phase of life, which hopefully will be some form of retirement. We'll see. But so I have already booked um 3 weeks a year where we are going 3 continuous weeks. And we have been able to arrange childcare when we're there, and to have my husband work those weeks remotely and take some of that time as vacation for the extended family. But because it was already a desire I had and marked in the calendar, we've made it happen.
Yeah.
Like it's something, instead of just in retrospect saying, I wish, I wish, I wish, we have put down our desires and our values on paper, and our calendars are reflecting that.
Yeah. And I want to share my personal story too. I remember when I was starting off in business and I was encouraged to think, well, money needs a purpose. What do you want your income to go to? When you're an entrepreneur like you and I, it can be overwhelming to have that sense of freedom when the income does come in, and then you get to actually choose. And I cry when I see what's on my vision board. I wanted more help at home. I have at least 15 extra hours per week where I have help with cooking, with cleaning, plus I have my family who's helping me out, and I get to have my career and my baby at home. And then in the beginning, though, I was like, $1 million. I mean, okay, so, okay, right, that seems great, but what for? And I thought, what would feel really luxurious? A month away in the summer. And at first it was Kelowna. And then, I don't know, the fire started being there and we went less. And we went for a month to Costa Rica. And now this is the third year we're going. And we're going with two grandmas. And we want to build that time with them. I lost my dad 3.5 years ago. And we know for our family that spending those times with the grandparents is absolutely critical, right? And so now it's my reality. This is something we look forward to. We book it a year in advance and we get to do it. I used to be in a corporate job. And even if you're in a corporate job, you can still live more in alignment with your desires if you know what they are. The problem is that a lot of people don't, most people don't take a step back and do a deeper inventory of work, right? So this calendar work, it's beautiful. You learn from it year after year. You try one thing, you do the process, you gather data, and then every year it gets better, it ripens. And all of a sudden, you're not being caught by surprise. Your day is not just run by a to-do list. You get to enjoy spaciousness, peace, right? And you wake up and you're like, holy moly, I'm living the life I wanted.
Mhm.
When did that happen? Oh, right. I took the reins of my life, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would like for people to know about joining the MoMBA program? And if they're considering, or, I've been sending them messages and they're wondering like, who's this lady sending me messages every day? Should I respond to her? Should I? They're watching the videos on replay, but they're kind of shyly observing. What would you tell the women who are wondering, can this woman be trusted? Is she walking the walk, right? Is she doing the work? Is my money safe with her? Is my money safe with the program? What would you tell the people?
I would tell people that Kenya is one of the people that inspires me on a weekly, if not daily basis, because she's really taken everything she's learned from trying to find supports for her own motherhood journey and brought it to an industry that desperately needs support for their mothers and for their women. It is just an amazing experience to go from feeling alone and not supported in my journey to literally having a community of people around you. I went to one of the Pros and Babes events recently where I guess shout out to the Working Mother Experience,
Yes.
and Morgan's journey there. And we were painting together, and it was very much uh, a moment I had where we looked around the room and there were a couple of us struggling. And we're like, wait, how many of us are engineers? And I think it was 80% of the women in the room were engineers. That has never happened to me ever. Like, as a woman engineer, you're used to being the only one in the room. So it was this moment of, I'm here. This is my community. This is where I belong. And I I don't know. I can't put a value on that.
Andrea is asking in the chat,
Yeah.
what we might have covered a little bit, but it's always worth reinforcing. What
Mhm.
would have happened to you if you didn't join the MoMBA program? If that was, I don't know what was 2 years ago, maybe something like that. Yeah, it's coming up on
Yeah.
2 years. And, you joined right before giving birth to your third. You probably,
Yes.
but maybe, you would have decided, you know what, it's not worth pushing for the funding. Maybe it's just too much of an effort and you would have decided to ride solo and we wouldn't be part of your world. What do you think would have happened?
I think I would have been stuck in a cycle of overwhelm and anxiety. I had already got to that point, to be honest, when before I had my third, when I was in a position where I was being asked to work significant hours while I had two small kids at home. And my doctor, my GP actually sat me down and was like, you have to make a choice of whether you think your job is important enough to you to start looking at alternative options for your mental health, or to look at different options for your career. And I think I would very easily be back there again if I hadn't joined the MoMBA community. The effect that community and mindset work and this purpose and clarity and organization, all these things that we want to have and we like just need, it it exists within the MoMBA community, and I was trying to do it on my own and I couldn't. So where would I be? I don't like thinking about where I would be, but what I like doing now is thinking about where I'm going to go because I was in the program. That is way more exciting than looking back and thinking where would I be if I didn't. Hopefully that answers your question, Andrea.
Well, would Mekomi's product be going to market today?
No, it would not. It would be one of those ideas that when it did come on the market, because it is intuitive and people have tried all sorts of situations, I would be sitting in my living room, 10, 20 years from now going, oh, I had that idea. I could have done that. No, instead, I have that idea. I am doing it. I got to send an email to lawyers saying, yes, I am the only inventor of this product. Put my name on that patent.
I had
Yeah.
you. That's wonderful. Okay, well, Andrea, we hope that answered your question. Thank you so much, Melissa, for coming to talk about your experience in the program. Thank you for leading yourself through motherhood, through your career choices with the support of a community, not doing it alone, being a lighthouse for other women who need the support, who crave the support, who are still waffling a little bit inside, wondering, can I invest the time? Can I invest the money?
Mhm.
I'm just a message away. I'm here to provide you clarity. I'm not going to make you feel terrible. Like, what we're going to do is we're going to look at your own customized journey in the program. We will prioritize your journey. We will do that vision, just like with Melissa. We will look at where you could be. And then it's up to you to reflect on, is the investment worth it for you? What is the dollar value of the investment? We get into big specifics. And when it comes to wealth building specifically, we bring on a partner to give us the tools so that every single person who takes action in the program can truly make their investment back. Truly. Like, if you make a couple of shifts that most women are not doing right now, I'm confident. I've seen enough women going through the program. I've seen the wealth plans growing significantly. Megan shared how from a $1 million wealth plan to a $6 million wealth plan, and not necessarily making more or saving more. So we cover that in the program. So the investment piece is really something that we address, that if you make the investment, we will work with you. If you decide it's a priority and you're concerned about the money piece, we will address that. And then the time commitment, we addressed a lot with Melissa today, is we have to shift how you experience time, because otherwise, if you don't, then you're going to be exactly in the same place, right? Or just wait until your kids are older and then they can take care of themselves, and then finally breathe a sign of relief about your time, right? Because if you leave it like that, then it can just be your everyday can just be like you don't have time to for yourself for a moment. And that's not my reality. Let me tell you, I go on date nights with my husband. We have time in the evening. Our kids are in bed by 7:30, right? We're sleeping a lot better than we were two months ago. And it came with investing in our mindset and our values and getting help for our sleep and all of that. We stumble, just the two of us, my husband and I, right? And we have 3 kids. So there you go. There you have it. Thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you, Andrea, for coming in with some questions. And for anybody considering the program, reach out to us, reach out to Melissa, reach out to one of the women talking about their experience, and we're here to support you. Thank you.